cheeky bull, a fierce devil, and a proud Nkholise. Don't tell that to me.
Our next speaker, her name is Nneile Nkholise. She's the founder of Lekobe Innovation Consultants, which focuses on creating innovations that contribute to sustainable development goals in Africa. She's passionate about innovations in health and education and exploiting the rising wave of emerging technologies and implementation of social challenges. Can you please put your hands together?
My surname actually means convince me, but somehow everyone. Well, that's the things I've learned to understand in Joburg. If you don't talk money, then it's nothing, nothing at all. I come from a small village. Grew up in a small village in Lesotho, then later moved to a small town in the Free State, Tabanchu, where I was part of a community. So things such as money were not part of the conversation. It was always about what assets are you going to bring to the table, and a lot of times it would be what human skills can you bring to better develop the other person. Just to introduce myself, I'm Nneile Sandra Alexandrina Nkholise. I have so many names. I'm from Lesotho by birth, Tabanchu by circumstances, and Johannesburg by commitments, work commitments. I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, a sports activist by passion, with my passion in football, and a social entrepreneur by devotion. I believe in God, love, and everything in between that completes the full cycle of a joyous life. I'm a cheeky bull, a fierce red devil, and a proud Nkholise. Don't tell that to my partner because he's Orlando Pirates. I remember Uspisu asked, who of you here have a business or have started a business? I just saw quite a few number of hands, and when I was talking to a few people, a lot of people were saying, I'm still in the process of starting a business. I'm 29 years this year, going to turn 30 later in December, and I've had a business for 29 years, 9 months. And the first business that I was granted to by God was my life. And with my life, I understood that I had to try to build a brand around myself. I've been blessed that God trusted me with the brand I've built around myself, that He gave me another business that I needed to take care of. I call it my baby. And I believe that it has its own life that I need to nurture and protect for today's generation and tomorrow's generation. And the most important thing about realizing that you are more than just a person, you are a business. You need to then start looking at yourself, say, what's my passion? What's my values in life? What are my variables to success? Because I believe that every single one of you have your variables to success. What is my belief system? What is something that I can stand for and firmly believe in myself? What is it something that I can offer to the next person and contribute towards building the next person? When you realize that value within yourself and you realize what you value in life, you obviously realize that you are an entrepreneur, not because you have a business, but you have been running your life. Every time when Bulelani talks about brand development, he doesn't talk about the brand of a business. He talks about the business, building a brand for a business, but he talks mostly about building a brand for yourself. Because the first thing as an entrepreneur, when you start a business, you don't even have 10 rand or 1 rand in your business. You don't even have a client. Do you realize that the first business that you are going to present when you pitch is yourself? When people believe in you as an entrepreneur, they believe in the business that you are going to lead. You know, when people make this a simple statement, we say people do not bet on the horse, they bet on the jockey. They bet on the person riding the horse. So you need to put time to develop yourself Because when you stand in front of the stage, you don't have your business right there. The reason why Steve Jobs is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our lifetime, because when he stood on stage, he told a story that everyone believed. Even when an Apple iPhone was 50,000 rand, you believed in his story so much that when people got out of there, they would say, I can't believe I bought an iPhone, and they're excited. And you look at the bank balance like, Steve Jobs just sold us a phone that's like 10 times an ordinary phone, because he had built himself and he was telling a story. And the reason I talk about telling a story and valuing yourself and your own authentic story is because a lot of times when people pitch their businesses, they try so hard to talk about the things that are not necessary in a pitch. In an elevator pitch, tell your story. Because when you tell your story, you give me the opportunity to believe in you. And when I believe in you, I then believe in your business. When I started iMedTech, it was after I had started so many other businesses. I know you call me Dikwebe. I still don't understand why. Dikwebe. When I started iMedTech, I still remember I was still at varsity, and you know when you're doing your master's research, you do all these clinical trials. And I went to a hospital with my supervisor and some doctor who was my co-supervisor. And we are sitting there doing practicals. And so when we are still in hospital, I mean, it's the cancer ward. And we're still doing this one thing. I asked them, so are we just doing one product for one patient just to prove that our research stands? It's like, yeah, that's normally how we do in research. And I'm saying, but you have written so many publications to prove that things could work, but then there are over 1,000 or 1 million people needing this, but you guys don't care. What you care about is writing and getting points and becoming professors, going to postdoctoral fellows, being respected within the academic fraternity. But you never come back to make an impact to the people that you serve. So after that, that experiment, I had to write some results. And I still remember when I was writing my master's thesis, I felt that something was so wrong about it because it never spoke about my purpose. And a lot of times I would write about the purpose, I would write about the need to implement our solutions to a greater society. And my supervisor would come back and say, you know, Nneile, you are an engineer, so you just need to talk about the science, the math, and the engineering part of it. Talking about the social impact of it is not that necessary for engineers. And I still felt at that point, this is not where I belong. So, a year later into my master's research, my supervisor says to me, you know, you have written so much and your work is so valuable. Just publish it. And I still felt it's not enough because it's not answering what my purpose is in life, you know, because I felt that as a young engineer in tech, particularly as a Black woman, knowing the challenges that I face within healthcare from where I come from, I need to be talking about telling a different story than the story you are asking me to tell. I'm not fulfilling who I am. And he looked at me and laughed and he said, what do you want to do? I want to be in business. So he asked, so you want to make money? There's no way that you can make money. And I said, I'm not going into business to make money. I'm going to business to create impact. Money will follow. And I remember he laughed at me and said, you know, with medtech, it's difficult for you to ever build a business. It's going to take a long time. I'm saying I want to build something that is built to last. I understand it's going to take a long time, 5 years, if I'm lucky enough, 10 years, before I create sustainability. And so my supervisor then said to me, are you sure you can stand that 10 years? And I just said, it's worth a try. I'm willing to take that try and build that business. Even if it doesn't get to 10 years, or even if I die along the way, I always stay by 50 cent, get rich or die trying. Tries a business or die trying. And so he said, you can go ahead. So I started Tech, and people kept on telling me, you are crazy, Nneile. This is not a business. With MedTech, you can't do it. And I still remember very well, at some point I sat down with Vusi Tembekwayo, and he said, who's your competitor? And I was sitting there and I'm looking at him and I'm saying, Medtronic, Stryker. Then Vusi says to me, Medtronic and Stryker are just near Mall of Africa. Have you seen their factories? And I'm saying, you know what? They're my competitors. Who else can I call my competitors? They're my competitors. Then he said, you are actually fighting the Goliath of MedTech globally. You either have two things. There's one thing about you. You must be extremely crazy to believe that you are going to take down the Medtronic and the Stryker and the Johnson & Johnson of this world. Or two, you must be lying to yourself. But when I look at you in the face, I believe that you must be so crazy. And I just accepted and said, I must be crazy. And it's all the craziness that you need for you to take one step and the next in business. So from 2015, I dealt with that craziness till now, and I'm still crazy to believe that we'll take on the Goliath of MedTech in this world. So when we built MedTech, it was more of saying, how can we start getting into healthcare, a model that is a one-size-fits-one model, where when you go to hospital and you are from an accident or have injured yourself, rather than people saying you can get this prosthetic that fits everyone else, why can't we start telling a story and doctors treating you and giving you a solution that is uniquely designed for yourself? And that's how we build our MedTech, by saying we create custom-made medical prosthetics, we create custom-made medical implants, and we also create custom-made surgical planning models so that doctors, when they deal with you, they can uniquely understand your story and they can uniquely treat you for you to be able to be rehabilitated post an episode that may have affected your life, for you to have become disabled or lost a precious body feature. And so when we started our story, that's when we started understanding purely our business model and the direction of our business. And that's when we started creating, simple things such as your breast prosthetics for women who have lost breast due to breast cancer. And we started working with different hospitals to create surgical planning models so that a surgery, an operation that would generally take 8 hours, it would take 4 hours. And a surgery where people would lose so much blood, they would have, people would lose about a large amount of blood, they would lose just a small amount of blood, because doctors have now achieved accuracy and precision in surgery, and they can communicate well with the patient about the surgical procedure that they're going to take. Now, this is just a story that I'm telling, and this is just a story that I refined over the years with investors. Because thing is, when people think that they want funding and they want to speak to investor, you just talk about one investor or two. For me to have gotten to this point, being able to tell my story, I had to talk to over 167 investors, telling the same story. Sometimes it will be a minute elevator pitch. Sometimes it will be 3 minutes. Sometimes it will be 7 minutes if I'm lucky. And other times I would be so lucky that I would get 20 minutes to pitch, and I would be able to talk at length about what we do. But you need to understand, you are going to tell your story to over 167, even 200, or sometimes even 300 investors, just hoping for that one person who's going to believe in you, one person who's going to invest in your company. So sometimes I hear entrepreneurs saying that I went to Department of Trade and Industry. They're not giving us any funding. You know, I've gone to Department of Trade and Industry over 11 times. When the first time they told me no. And I mean, I had listened to Gil Ovett who said, no is not the end of conversation. No is the beginning of a new conversation. So I asked them, I need to ask, why are you telling me no? Then they told me, no, your financials are not well enough. Then I said, how can I fix them? Then I remember DT said, okay, here is a business plan of another person whom we gave funding to. You can talk to this person. We also gave funding to this person. Just ask them, how were they able to get funding from us? So I then had to call all those people. How were you able to get funding from DTI? How did you position your business plan? How did you position your story? How did you position your finances? Because they always say that finances is not just about talking about the income statement, the cash flow, your balance sheet. You need to tell a financial story where at the beginning you talk about assumptions. You talk about this is what we want to achieve. This is what we have been able to do in the previous financial year. If you haven't done anything, just be able to tell your story to say that in the 5 years, I believe that my business will have achieved so much. In month 1, in October, I'll be able to do this. In November, I'll be able to do this. And I'll be able to do this based on this and this and this metrics. So you need to tell a story. So I mean, I was listening to all these guys telling me, you need to tell a story. You need to tell a flow of your business plan, as if you are talking to someone who doesn't understand your business at all. Then I came back, wrote it again in 2015, took it back, and they kept saying no. And I kept asking, what do you want from me? No, you need to work on your team. How do I need to work on my team? No, maybe you are not balanced enough. You need someone who can offer you certain services. Then I went and said, you know what? I remember the third time I just said to them, you know what, I don't need the money. Give me the resources that would help me take my business from the level I'm at to the next level. Then they said, well, in that case, we have this and this program that you need to go to. We have these people that we know who are running this program. We know it costs a lot of money, but we can take you to that program for free. So that's how I got introduced to programs such as the SAB Social Innovation Awards. I got introduced to programs such as the Discovery. It was the Discovery MedTech Entrepreneurs, because I realized that at that point my business didn't need money as I thought it needed. It needed me to enter just one door where someone could listen to me. And I just remember in 2015 when I got that opportunity to join the SAB Innovation Awards. I mean, I was just a tech person. I didn't understand much about business, and I kept knocking on a lot of people's doors saying, I need the money, like all of you are saying. If I could get the money, I would get to some point. If I could get the money, I would be able to start. I used to keep telling myself that story, and every single person I spoke to, they always said that, Nneile, you don't need the money. You have so many resources around you. If you could only look at the walls and the doors, Lucy Tembagwai will tell me, look at the walls and the doors, they're all over around you, they're open for you to enter. They're not even locked at all. Like for some people whose doors are locked, yours are opened, just open. They're open for you. So when I went to the SAB Innovation Awards, I just said to them, I told them about my dream. I remember I was talking to one of the chairperson of the foundation, and I just told them about my dream, and I told them, you know, I'm honest enough to tell you that I've just started business. I don't know much, and I'm in a journey of learning. Don't give me the money right now, because if you give me the money, I'm going to spoil every single cent you are going to give me. I'm going to show you how to spend money on myself. because I know that one very well. But just give me the opportunity to enter a door I deserve to be in. And from that moment on, I just remember October 2015, SAB Foundation gave me a firm standing platform for me to stand on. Firstly, they gave me a mentor who sat down with me and told me so many things that I didn't want to hear. She told me that I'm lazy to think. She told me that I think that I'm better because I've come from school. She told me that she has 10 entrepreneurs within her circle who don't even have a matric, who are making 10 times more than what I have in my bank account. And she told me that you don't even need to have a qualification, a higher qualification for you to make it in business. You just need to be able to understand yourself, understand the strategy on how you run your business, and understand your authentic story. And because of that mentor who was able to shout at me, tell me a million things I didn't want to hear, I was able to start my business and understand truly what I wanted to achieve. And so in 2016, just 6 months after I had started my business, and I had the little tiny bit of confidence to say that I'm an entrepreneur. You know, you call yourself, you're confident that you're an entrepreneur the minute you can do business cards and you can start going to people and say, you can call me, these are my business cards. I have a website. It might not be the best of websites. It might just be a landing page that says www.imedtech.sa.com, where you just say website coming soon. Or you just have that 50 brochures that you had to get money for to just do and be able to tell someone, this is my business, you know, I'm taking myself seriously. And you can even talk in the tone where you can just articulate to the next person what your business does. And you start calling yourself, I'm a founder of this and this company. This is what our company does. I had gotten to that point. And I don't know if I could call myself very lucky, or because I've been given too much responsibility. So in 2016, around May, you know, you're just doing these little things where you're presenting yourself. And all of a sudden, I get an email telling me, oh, you have to be in Rwanda. It was around the 13th of May, 2016. Oh, you have to be in Rwanda. What do I need to do in Rwanda? You have been selected as the top female innovator in Africa by the World Economic Forum. I'm sitting there saying, you know, I didn't have a cent at that point, and my mom is like, you know, it's very difficult because she's a single mother, and, you know, she had to take care of her extended family. And my mom is telling me, you know what, even if it means I have to sell everything of who I am, you are going to be on that plane in Rwanda at the World Economic Forum on Africa. I don't even know what the World Economic Forum is. I don't even know the topics they talk about. I just get on the plane. Luckily with Rwanda, you don't need to apply for a visa. You just get to the airport and you get a visa there. I get to Rwanda and I just get someone saying, oh no, this is the World Economic Forum, I'll take you there. So I get there and now I'm just, you convince yourself I'm just a tech person. I know nothing about business. People shouldn't put pressure on myself. I just know what the name of my company is. I know my value proposition. And I get there and suddenly I get the former deputy president of South Africa, now the deputy president, President Cyril Ramaphosa, saying, we're still waiting for Nneile Nkholise from South Africa. Apparently, she's the best female innovator in Africa. Now, I just want to sit down and talk to her. Wow. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know where to begin. They get me into this room and they say, okay, here's your VIP access. I get in there and you get access to, all the dignitaries in Africa, from your presidents to the CEOs. And I'm still sitting there saying, how did I get here? And I was sitting in this little corner and telling myself, I don't even know what to say, what to do at all. And, within a space of 3 hours, I'm told you need to have an interview with Power FM. And luckily I had an interview at that point with Victor Khomeswana. And Victor just sat me down, and I was honest to him saying, Victor, I don't know why I'm sitting at this table. There are tables that when we were growing up, we were told that a young black girl like myself was never meant to sit at. They were meant for certain people, and I didn't belong on it. And Victor was saying, this is the place that had always been reserved for you. If you don't sit on this chair, no one will ever sit on it. So take it and own it up and understand that you are telling a story for black women that had never been told before. And he was like, no matter how hard it gets, and you feel like it's getting hard on you, just remember that you are telling a story for so many black women who never knew that they would sit on this table. And I went into an interview with him, and before the interview I told him, I'm very shy. I cannot even stand in front of people and express myself. And he was telling me, don't be like everyone else. Everyone else wants to get into meetings and start saying, hi, this is my business. This is what I do. Remember who I am. This is me. Yeah. Hi, darling. I made 10 million the previous year. I've met with this person. And he said, your uniqueness can be so powerful without you even knowing. Even if you are shy, even if you are quiet, don't take it as a weakness. Sometimes it can be your power, because when someone looks at you sitting there and they enter your place, just open up an environment for them to enter your home. And when they talk to you, just understand the minute you are shy, that when people talk to you, leave them with something that they wouldn't forget at all. And I took about an hour talking to him. And I remember when we left the interview, Victor came back to me and said, I had never understood tag the way I've understood after I've spoken to you. People can be making noise at this conference because they are CEOs, they talk about money, they talk about how much I've made. But I'll always remember you because you spoke about something that I was never able to hear at all. You never spoke about money. You never spoke about the rich life you want to live. You spoke about passion, purpose, and impact. And when I came out of that event, I already understood that I'm not just an ordinary entrepreneur in it for the money. I'm an impact entrepreneur. I'm a social entrepreneur. My purpose in this world is to put human beings at the center of my development. If I can make your life better, that is the greatest reward. I know I also want to make money from you, but if I can change your life, that's the greatest reward. And because I had opened myself up to that, and I had allowed myself, from a prayer I always said to myself throughout the years, use me, Lord, to change someone else's life. I've been given so much by God. I've been given a great family. I've been given love. I've been given so many people around me who cared for me, who would take time and say, I just need to spend time with you, Nneile. I just knew I cannot hold on to that for ages. I needed to use that to impact other people's life. For May, a month later in June, you get a call, I get an email telling you you have been chosen to be in the top 100 entrepreneurs outside the US to attend the World Economic, it was our Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Silicon Valley. So thing is with the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, they go through over 1 million entrepreneurs worldwide, and they take the top 800 in the world, of which 700 come from the US and 100 will come from different parts of the world. You see, so I get to Silicon Valley, and you still meet your Silicon Valley type of entrepreneurs. And the one thing that was different from Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, because with them it's about doing just fancy gadgets that make money. With entrepreneurs from Africa and your Asia and your South America, our businesses were always on some, I'm doing this business because I have seen a need in my community. I have seen challenges within my society. That's why I started this business. We are problem-solving entrepreneurs. We are not just entrepreneurs that did the fancy things. And I'm sitting there and I get an email telling me, you need to come to a secret meeting. There have been 30 entrepreneurs that have been chosen out of the 800 who have to go to secret meetings. You just need to go to Stanford University at this room, get up the elevator, and you're going to enter the room and someone is going to talk to you. It's just a secret meeting. So I get to Stanford University, get into that room, and I'm just sitting there, and it's just the 10 of us. It's young women. And when I enter there, Draymond John comes. The guy who started FUBU and who was in Shark Tank. He comes, he's like, hello people, what's your name? Where are you from? And I'm thinking, what's the secret meeting? It's like, no, you are going to get an opportunity to be mentored by the top entrepreneurs in the world. And I look back and I'm thinking, I saw LinkedIn. I saw the founder of LinkedIn. I didn't know. When you see someone on TV and next thing he comes, you are in an elevator together, taking the stairs together, and you are saying, he's like, yeah, I'm early for the meeting. Yeah, it seems like we are the only people. He's sitting there, I'm sitting there. And those moments when you have to do an elevator pitch, but I don't know it's him. Because there are certain people as investors and certain people you don't even know at all if you see them in real life. And all of a sudden, I'm in a meeting with all these people and they're talking about business, asking about my business. And I'm thinking at the back of my head, how the heck did I get to this table? And Draymond John is sitting and saying, that's the same question I asked myself the day Destiny's Child wore my FUBU outfit on stage. I kept on asking myself, how could a young guy from the projects in the US selling caps from the basement of his house ever create a brand where football players would wear, basketball players would wear, iconic musicians would wear? Never ask yourself, how did you get here? Be proud. And at that point, you then understand your journey. You then understand the beauty of taking every opportunity that you have. Because sometimes things present themselves in the most mysterious ways ever. And this thing presented itself because I had allowed myself to follow my journey. It was the hardest journey in this whole wide world. People say it started in 2015 for me, but to me, it was a lifetime journey. I was there when my mom was struggling and she didn't have any single thing to carry and get us through the day. And I told her that, I would help you make money, I would help you make a living. At that moment when I was 8 years old, when I told my mom that I'm going to help you make a living and I don't want anything in return, I just want you to understand and the surety of my support. That became the beginning of me starting my entrepreneurial career. I was there at moments when some of my friends or people at home would say, I have a business. I just need someone who could sit down in my tech shop and sell from 8 in the morning until 6 in the evening. And I just said, I can do it just to help you. Don't give me money. Just give me the gratification that I was able to help someone who needed my help. That was the beginning when I understood. When I make reflection of my entrepreneurial journey, I go back to those moments when I understood that entrepreneurship for me started my volunteering my time to help another person lift their business. And in that moment, I was building my business too. And when people talk about how can I start a business because I don't have money, you have assets around you. If I cannot help you give you money, I can help you with something that could help build your business. If you cannot help someone with money or anything, don't give a person money. Give them something that is more valuable to their business, that is way bigger than money. One of the greatest assets I always say young people have right now that you can give to yourself, give to your business, and give to the next person are the 3 greatest assets: time, energy, and good health. Don't think about money. Money will come. You have time, energy, and good health. Use them wisely. I ask you, does Bulelani pay you to be here? He doesn't pay you. But when you get out of here, you are a better person than what you were before you started being part of T. What did you use for you to be here? You used your time, your energy, and your money. You used your time, your energy, and your health to be here, your greatest assets. So the minute you understand that those are your assets and do your best job in the whole wide world, everything that is good in this world will follow you. Guys like Casper Nyovest, I knew Casper Nyovest from a feature when he featured on Double HP's music, a song one. Is that time of the month? When I prove I got more flow than that time of the month. At that point, I fell in love with Casper. He knew he needed to be a servant for him to be elevated to be a leader. He understood his call to service to music, and he made that sacrifice and served with passion, served with integrity, and served with dignity. And because he had allowed himself to be a servant leader, he was elevated to the stage where he needed to be at. I know a lot of people within business, Abo Bulelani, started by becoming servants. And because he became a servant leader, he was elevated to where he needed to be. So it's not about making money like people always convince you, charge people, make money. Start by becoming a servant. DJ's Boost showed on his Twitter, I don't know if you remember that post, where he said that he used to run to YFM, make just almost 1.5 per month. He might have been working with people who were making 10 times more than he was making, but he understood he needed to be a servant and he needed to learn. He needed to work more than the one person who earns money to do that work. But because he became a servant and learned, he became elevated to a stage that people who were just there for the money never got to reach. So what I want to leave with you, I'm not good with quotations. But I always say that be a servant leader. Always start with what you have. Dream big. You know, as Simon Sinek always says, when your why is strong enough, you will be able to build your purpose, and your purpose will drive your passion. And at the end, he always says in his book, dream big, start small, but just start. Thank you.
Round of applause for Nneile.